An orange haze has washed over the city as smoke from wildfires in Northwestern Ontario drift into our region, leaving Toronto with some of the worst air quality in the world today. Good evening. All eyes on the sky. The heavy smoke forcing the closure of outdoor city pools and the cancellation of many recreation programs.
The heat alert may be over, but an air quality warning from Environment Canada remains in effect, with conditions not expected to improve until Friday morning. CTV's John Musselman joins us live from Humber Bay Park, where things are still hazy. John.
Sure are, Nathan, and this would usually be bustling on a warm summer night, but it's just not that way tonight. I think a lot of people are heeding the advice and staying indoors to avoid this thick, smoky air. You could see it and even smell it as soon as you walked outside today.
I feel like I smell smoke immediately.
Looks like the city's covered in some sort of soot or something, and it kind of smells funny too.
A thick orange haze hung over the city, blanketing the skyline.
Talking to the concierge there, and he said he hasn't seen something like this in many years.
An air quality warning has been issued for the city as smoke from the forest fires in Northwestern Ontario drifts south. This map illustrates what we are dealing with and why the air quality is so bad.
Winter in reverse, where I'm staying inside to avoid the weather, which just seems odd in the summer where you want to be outside most of the time.
It's not the greatest for your nose. Kind of smells like smoky.
The City of Toronto says the air quality warning prompted some cancellations. Due to the air quality warning, FIFA Fan Festival Toronto and the match broadcast at Nathan Phillips Square are cancelled to prioritize the health and safety of attendees. All waiting pools are also closed today. And late this afternoon, the city announced that all outdoor pools would be closed because of the bad air quality.
So some people might be affected by extreme heat, some people might be affected by the wildfire smoke, and some people both. So it's really kind of a confluence of circumstance.
Vendors near Humber Bay say it was not nearly as busy today.
I feel a little bit of soreness on the throat because they said I should wear a mask, right? But the cycling path is very quiet today.
At one point today, Toronto's air quality ranked the worst in the world by IQ Air, which tracks global air quality data. Environment Canada says the air quality will likely improve on Friday. And we are learning that a lot of this smoke is also drifting into New York State and Michigan as well, so they'll have to deal with this as well. But in the meantime, health officials are saying just be careful, take it easy. Some people are going outside, but try to avoid it if you can until this all blows through. Reporting live, I'm John Musselman. I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, John. And let's take a live look at our skyline this hour, and you can still see the haze remains. If there was sun out there today, we didn't see it. It's been downright dark all day, feeling more like the evening hours. Lindsay Morrison has been monitoring these poor conditions, and truly, they impact everyone when you're outside. You can smell it, you can taste it.
Absolutely, Michelle, and we've been dealing with it all day long, as you mentioned. A little bit of good news, perhaps. The smoke, I hate to say it, it inhibited our warm-up today. We didn't make it to heat warning criteria temperature-wise, so the heat warning has ended for the City of Toronto, but this air quality warning, it remains in effect, and it is an orange level, so very intense. We were off the charts today in the city when it came to the Air Quality Health Index, or the AQHI. 10 plus at one point earlier on. You can see on this satellite image, we've back-timed it several hours. Some of this is cloud, but some of it is smoke making its way from Northwestern Ontario to here in the lower Great Lakes. There's the temperature. We've been 25 degrees pretty well all afternoon, feeling more like 30. Winds out of the northwest, they are fairly light right now, and a few showers within the last couple of hours. That could help clear some of this smoke and improve the air pollution with those small particles in the air. But regardless, expect that it's going to be a smoky evening and overnight tonight. Not as hot tonight as it was last night. My goodness, it was very uncomfortable at 26 degrees for a low. Tonight, it's 21. We'll take you through the forecast for the rest of the week and into the weekend, give you an idea of how long this smoke is going to be sticking around. That's ahead. For now. Michelle, over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. And still ahead, we head to Northern Ontario for a closer look at what's to blame for this poor air quality. The latest on the wildfire situation, intense flames prompting evacuation, sparking harrowing moments like this one on a train.
While the poor air quality led to the cancellation of outdoor watch parties for today's World Cup semifinal, it didn't stop fans from watching indoors.
Bars and restaurants filled up across the city to see who Spain will meet in Sunday's final, and it was Argentina booking their spot with a 2-1 win over England. They now have the chance to repeat as champions. And CP24's Phil Perkins was watching the game with fans at Roxton Public House on Dundas. He joins us now live. Phil, I'm sure emotions were high.
Emotions very high, Michelle and Nathan. The first half, England were the better team, and it was 0-0 heading into the halftime. And then Anthony Gordon scoring in the 55th minute, and this place primarily a British pub. The owner owns a couple here in the Ossington and Dundas area. He is from Kent, and he has two watering holes here, and this place was absolutely bedlam when England had that 1-goal lead. And then soon after that, though, Thomas Tuchel, their head coach, played a very defensive game, almost 5 in the back, all defensive substitutions. And they were paid dearly for that choice up against the world champion Argentina. Messi, of course, the greatest of all time, according to many people, assists on both goals for Argentina. And now it's going to be Argentina taking on Spain in Sunday's final in New Jersey, New York. Here are some English fans who spoke to me, brave enough to speak to me after that match.
Can't park the bus. It's never in the history of sports worked as a strategy. The Leafs should learn. If you park the bus on a world-class team and just let them shoot, then it's going to go in at some point.
I would like to see the boys put it on a little bit more. You know, it's a game, it's a soccer game. Put it on, pretend it's 0-0. Put the pressure on them a little bit. Stop the time they're on attack. That's what I would have liked, but result's a result. You know, you got to take it, good or bad.
Now, they are Canadian English fans, the British people, the English people inside the pub, Nathan and Michelle, they were not so happy, not too family-friendly or PG for this broadcast after that match. They believe that England really did, to use an English football term, bottled this one against Argentina. So Argentina looking to repeat as champs against Spain Sunday afternoon. England will try to go in third place. They'll take on France on Saturday. Back to you two.
That's right, not over for England. Thank you, Phil. Well, it was the hottest ticket in town back in November 2024. People clamoring to see Taylor Swift's Eras Tour during 6 shows in Toronto.
But the concerts also came with scammers trying to take advantage of people looking to attend. And a Hamilton couple who sold more than $265,000 in fake tickets has now pleaded guilty in court. CTV's Sean Lathong has been following this story from the beginning and was in court today. Sean.
Well, Michelle and Nathan, many of the victims of this ticket scam wanted to give the ticket sellers the benefit of the doubt. They'd originally been told that somebody had stolen the money from the ticket sellers. We found out today that money had not been stolen from anybody but the victims. Denise Tizer and her common-law partner David Blake left court in Milton having each pleaded guilty to a single count of defraud the public. The result of selling fake tickets to Taylor Swift's Eras Tour, taking in over $265,000.
No comment. Don't comment.
To have watched this unfold for the last couple of years and to hear her plead guilty, probably in my opinion now for the lesser sentence, really kind of is a gut punch.
Tammy Allen was one of the victims, having purchased tickets from Tizer in August 2023. Allen was confident because Tizer is someone she knew, someone she sees in the community as recently as last week.
She has had no effort to repay anyone.
Back in November 2024, as Taylor Swift played 6 sold-out shows at the Rogers Centre, we spoke to several victims who had purchased tickets from Tizer.
There were hundreds of us.
Some had purchased tickets for other artists previously, and Tizer had delivered.
Like, we actually went. So it was reassuring because we had the tickets.
Many had given the tickets to their kids as Christmas gifts, confident that it was for real. But as the concerts drew closer, no tickets arrived, with victims having to face the harsh reality.
I wanted to go there so badly. And it just turns out we didn't get to go.
According to the agreed statement of facts in this case, between August 8, 2023 and November 12, 2024, 107 Taylor Swift ticket purchasers from across southern Ontario purchased $265,330 worth of tickets from Denise Tizer. We first contacted Tizer in November 2024. At the time, she had said that the money was stolen from her by a third party. When we knocked on her door...
Hi, Denise.
Court documents show there was no third party involved.
Because I don't want this guy.
Also, documents show that Blake and Tizer were aware that they were defrauding their victims, saying between July 1st, 2023 and November 28th, 2024, Ms. Tizer and Mr. Blake used $139,144 of these funds to place multiple online gambling bets on various platforms. Also, between July 1st, 2023 and November 28th, 2024, Ms. Tizer and Mr. Blake made approximately 350 cash withdrawals from ATMs totaling in excess of $297,000. Tizer went by the name Denise Blackhawk online, and while she didn't speak outside court today, a lengthy Facebook post from the account Blackhawk Denise said in part, "Today, I simply want to say that I'm sorry. Almost 2 years ago, I was facing a serious gambling addiction that completely took over my life. Addiction consumed my thinking. At the time, all I cared about was feeding that addiction. Looking back, I can see how much pain it caused, and I have to live with that every day."
Well, I can empathize with the addiction. I can't empathize with the life decisions made to support said addiction.
Tammy Allen says that her kids play lacrosse in the same organization as those of Denise Tizer, and says seeing the person who took from so many young kids doesn't sit right.
Whereas people are tiptoeing around her because they've been impacted by the situation and they don't know how to interact in spaces where they should feel safe and comfortable. There has been, as far as I can see, zero backlash.
A sentencing date for Denise Tizer and David Blake has not been set. Now, the victim list was also given out in court today, and of the 107 victims, most were under $5,000. One victim actually spent $17,000, and so far, none of that has been repaid. Reporting live, I'm Sean Leathong. Nathan, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Sean. 2 people are dead following a crash on the 401 in Mississauga this morning. It happened in the eastbound express lanes near Dixie Road shortly after 9. OPP say the victims are an 80-year-old man and a 53-year-old woman. They were both passengers in a Honda CR-V that was hit from behind by an SUV. The driver of the Honda and another passenger were taken to hospital. Meanwhile, the driver of the Mercedes was airlifted to hospital with Orange Air Ambulance landing on the highway. The express lanes of the highway were closed for several hours and opened around 4 this afternoon.
A man riding an e-scooter was seriously injured in a crash involving a vehicle in Mississauga. Police say it happened at Cawthra Road in the Queensway around 12:30 this afternoon. The man was rushed to hospital but is expected to survive. There's no word on any charges as police investigate. And here in the city, a 16-year-old boy was injured after being hit by a vehicle in Scarborough. This happened just after 3:30 this afternoon near Nielsen Road and McLevin Avenue. Toronto police say the boy suffered serious injuries. The driver involved remained on scene. This investigation is ongoing.
His own lawyer said he did it for no reason whatsoever. A 15-year-old boy who killed an elderly woman in an unprovoked attack in Pickering last year was handed the maximum youth sentence of 10 years for first-degree murder.
The decision came after the boy apologized in court for repeatedly stabbing 83-year-old Eleanor Doney. However, the judge said the boy is still preoccupied with violence and unwilling to accept full blame. CTV's Janice Goulding was at the courthouse.
It was a grisly, unprovoked attack. 83-year-old Eleanor Doney stabbed 8 times in her garden by a teen who just turned 14 years old.
How did he get the knife that he used to commit the murder with? Did he get that at home still after he was suspended from school with a knife? Like, what precautions were taken?
A crime that shocked a community and devastated a family, including Doney's daughter, whose image we've concealed at her request.
Are our youth being protected, or is justice being served?
The teen will now never enter high school, sentenced with the maximum penalty a youth can face for first-degree murder, 10 years. That includes 6 years in custody, less 1 year for time served, as well as 4 years of conditional supervision.
Let's hope for the best for him. Let's hope this treatment plan works. Let's really hope it works.
In rendering her decision today, Justice Lisa Wanamaker highlighted that the teen continues to demonstrate preoccupation with themes of violence, specifically harm to others, and a fascination with serial killers, saying of particular concern was what he said following an altercation with a peer in custody, namely that he hasn't felt this alive since the incident before the court.
The question I ask is, can this young man be rehabilitated after 6 years in custody and 4 years of conditional supervision in the community? It was alarming to hear in court that he still has a fascination with serial killers.
Still, while Justice Wanamaker said there is no sentence which would make Miss Doney's loved ones feel whole again, she also cited a report which implied his risk to reoffend violently is low to moderate, though likely low if his mental health is properly attended to and monitored. Doney's family says they know they are hurting, but says so too are the teen's parents.
It must be very hard for them, and it is. It's been a terrible year for them. It's been a terrible year for our family. So hurt, causing more hurt, doesn't solve anything.
That being said, Doney's family stressed they would like to see an inquest in the hopes of preventing another senseless murder. Janice Golding, CTV News, Oshawa.
Hamilton police are investigating what they describe as a suspicious death in Stony Creek. A man's body was found in a culvert near Fruitland Road. Police say he was found partially submerged in the water. Police have identified the victim but aren't releasing his age or gender as they work to notify next of kin. Police don't believe the man died where his body was discovered. They're not commenting on a possible cause of death. Anyone in the area with surveillance or dash cam footage is asked to come forward.
A Mississauga woman has been arrested in connection with a fatal stabbing in Richmond Hill 2 years ago. Catherine Pinzarone is charged with second-degree murder. The 27-year-old had been wanted on a Canada-wide warrant. She is charged in the death of a 16-year-old boy who was stabbed in the back in August of 2024 and later died in hospital. Bergeron Pinzarone was taken into custody in Calgary.
Disturbing details in a cross-border child sex abuse investigation that led to the rescue of 4 children in the Philippines.
A Hamilton man is facing more than 130 charges related to the case, and police are concerned there may be more victims. CTV's Eleanor Doney has the details.
42-year-old Stephen Tolles of Hamilton is facing more than 100 new charges related to child sexual abuse and exploitation.
As investigators continued to review evidence and follow new leads, the scope of the investigation grew. As a result, Mr. Tolles now faces 130 additional criminal charges related to the purchase and direction of live stream sexual abuse of children.
These new charges are in addition to the half-dozen laid against Tolles earlier this year, all connected to an investigation launched in April 2025. Agencies in Canada, the Philippines, the United States, and the Netherlands worked together to identify both the alleged facilitator overseas and Tolles, the suspected buyer in Canada.
What we're talking about is not a victimless crime. It is the repeated sexual abuse of children for profit. In many cases, it has been described as child rape.
That investigation ultimately led to 4 children being rescued in the Philippines and Tolles being arrested. Ontario Premier Doug Ford is weighing in on this investigation, writing on social media, "This is why Canada needs mandatory minimum sentences, so scumbags who abuse children rot behind bars." Police are also releasing several online usernames they allege Tolles used on social media platforms. Tupac 101, Steve 101, Steve-O, Jumpin' Jacks 666, Mighty Man 66.
We have one goal globally, and that's to identify and rescue children. We do have over 50 unnamed victims that we're looking to identify, which is why we're here today. We're hoping that this information will get out.
Police would not confirm if they believe there are other Canadians involved in this investigation. Meanwhile, the accused will appear in court later this month. Eleanor Doney, CTV News, Toronto.
Hamilton was poised to become the first city in Canada to put a pause on new data centers, but today city councillors rejected the proposal. The facilities securely house IT infrastructure, supporting everything from everyday web browsing and online banking to complex AI models. This afternoon, Council voted 10-6 against a 1-year moratorium that supporters say would have given officials time to understand the impact of the data centers and develop guardrails. But the city's legal team advised councillors that a data center project led by McMaster University would be exempt under the proposed pause. Critics of the moratorium say Hamilton risks passing up on a major investment opportunity and turning away smaller projects. Opponents of the centers are concerned about possible noise, water, and heat, and worry a large facility could strain the local electricity grid, driving up utility bills while delivering relatively few long-term jobs.
Turning now to Queen's Park, where the Ford government is planning to eliminate a rule that allows Toronto area politicians to expense hotel stays in the city under special circumstances.
The move comes after several PC MPPs have faced backlash for billing taxpayers thousands of dollars in Toronto hotels, despite representing ridings in the GTA. CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris has the details.
With hotel bills from several government MPPs shooting past $100,000, the government House Leader has moved to eliminate the rule that made them possible. It was intended to help members who live close to Queen's Park in an emergency, like a snowstorm. The opposition leader insists a rule change doesn't undo the past.
These members just simply saw that policy. They understood what it was for. All of us do as MPPs. And they chose to abuse it.
It's an exciting time in Ontario.
Public records show the parliamentary assistant to the Minister of Transportation racked up the biggest bill since 2023. Hardeep Grewal, who represents Brampton East, billed taxpayers for over $27,000. Nina Tangri from Mississauga Streetsville had almost 19 grand. And Charmaine Williams of Brampton Centre has been repaid close to $16,000. We told you yesterday the Minister of Tourism, Culture and Gaming was paying back $16,000 in hotel bills, including $6 grand in just a month.
There's no excuse for this behavior. And again, I'm happy if they prove me wrong. Show us the receipts.
The Liberals say they're willing to work with the government on eliminating the rule, but previous bills have to be explained.
This motion is really an attempt to bury something that the taxpayers absolutely have a right to know about.
Stephanie Bowman suggests the Auditor General or Integrity Commissioner may need to weigh in.
I mean, I'm a chartered accountant by background. I would say that this kind of policy is rife for abuse because it is not specific enough about when it is allowed to be used.
Well, who could ever have thought this was a good idea?
Former Ontario PC leader and Toronto Mayor John Tory says all the rules about MPP expenses may need a second look.
It isn't just about partisan damage, it's about damage in the institution and damage in elected representatives. And I'm a great believer in the good the system can do and in the goodness of the people who are in it, and this doesn't help.
A spokesperson for the Premier says any expense that did not meet the intent of the rules will be reimbursed to the legislature in full. But she offered no explanation of who would make that call or how. At Queen's Park, Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
Canada's Immigration Department has paused applications for a family reunification program that has been in place since 2020. It allowed people to sponsor their parents and grandparents to come to Canada as permanent residents. But officials say interest in the program continues to exceed the number of available spaces, and the pause is part of an effort to manage the system and reduce wait times. Canadian citizens and permanent residents can still apply for a super visa. It allows parents and grandparents to visit for 5 years at a time and for up to 10 years total on a temporary basis.
The Bank of Canada is keeping its trend-setting bank rate the same for the 6th consecutive time.
But the bank's governor also revealed today a sense of optimism. CTV's Judy Trin has those details.
Economic growth looks to have resumed in Canada.
The Bank of Canada is holding its key policy rate at 2.25% after the economy showed signs of a rebound.
While U.S. trade policy continues to be a headwind, consumers have been resilient and businesses are adapting.
Despite uncertainty surrounding the Canada-U.S.-Mexico Free Trade Agreement, the central bank's governor says businesses are finding new markets and exporting more.
Business sentiment in general, consumer confidence is slowly rising. Consumer spending is maintained.
The Canadian economy has remained flat since January 2025, but this quarter it's expected to grow, but only by 0.7%.
April GDP was largely, which grew quite strongly, was largely almost all accounted for by oil and gas. But there were some small growth registering amongst a wide range of sectors.
The biggest risk to growth globally is the shattering of the Iran-U.S. ceasefire. The war on the waterway puts a chokehold on 20% of the world's supply of oil and gas that goes through the Strait of Hormuz. Inflation in Canada currently sits at 3%.
Inflation in Canada is poised to ease, provided global oil prices decline from elevated levels. And third, uncertainty remains high.
Tiff Macklem is also crediting Canadian consumers for propping up the economy. While the population is shrinking, consumer spending has remained steady. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
In the Middle East, the U.S. carried out a new wave of strikes against Iran this afternoon, the third in 24 hours. Earlier today, Iranian coastal defense systems, as well as cruise missile storage and launch sites, were attacked over the course of about 90 minutes. The Americans say the strikes were designed to further degrade Iran's capability to attack commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. has now also reimposed a naval blockade of Iranian ports. Tehran is threatening to shut off more regional energy exports.
Drivers are feeling more pain at the pumps today, and it appears another price increase is on the way. Gas prices jumped 8 cents overnight, meaning the average price at most GTA stations rose to just under $1.73 a liter. Another 2-cent increase is expected tonight. Canadians for Affordable Energy President Dan McTeague says after an 11-cent hike overnight, diesel prices will rise another 8 cents on Thursday to just under $2.14 a liter. The rising prices are linked to the renewed violence between the U.S. and Iran in the Middle East.
You're about to see video of a Toronto police takedown that didn't exactly go according to plan.
As CTV's John Woodward reports, an unmarked police car slammed into 2 people riding a scooter, and that's just the beginning of how it all went wrong.
At first glance, the collision captured on these surveillance videos barely looks real, but it is, and that's a police officer behind the wheel.
Maybe the cops watch too many crime movies.
It all happened in Whitby on June 25, 2024. A team of Toronto officers went to a mall plaza with a Canadian Tire to see if they could arrest a man named Trayvon Palmer. They saw him riding an electric scooter with another man, Paul Lewis, and one officer radios this.
Coming up to the driveway for the garden center with a Canadian Tire. We should block him in here and take him right now.
Constable Joshua Baksh takes that as a signal to accelerate his unmarked vehicle into the moving scooter, sending the pair flying. Palmer takes off, Baksh follows, rushing through the garden center. Meanwhile, Lewis goes back for a gun, and he gets hit again by another police car, then crushed between them. Lewis was arrested, severely injured, and taken to hospital. Police found the gun and laid charges.
Lewis's lawyer challenged that gun evidence in court, and a judge tossed it, saying there was no urgency or justification for using what could have been lethal force in that first collision.
Not a suspect, not wanted, not observed committing crime should never have to be facing being run over by a 4,000-pound vehicle as a kinetic weapon.
Palmer and Lewis have since walked free. Baksh was charged by the SIU and has pleaded guilty to assault. The TPS said in a statement, as the matter is before the courts, any internal disciplinary matters will wait until criminal matters have concluded. The officer continues to work at TPS in a non-public facing role. Former Toronto Mayor John Sewell says the TPS should take a stronger stand against this.
This cop thought he could get away with this and he was doing something reasonable. I mean, maybe he didn't think at all.
About the consequences of this split-second decision. John Woodward, CTV News.
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, what do Matt Damon, Julia Roberts, and Morgan Freeman have in common? According to Google reviews, they all gave great ratings to a Toronto window company. Those reviews were fakes, but when it comes to reviews, who can you trust? That story is just ahead.
Well, it is going to be a smoky night tonight. It will be smoky again tomorrow. And while it could start off pretty bad tomorrow morning, we expect the widespread smoke to become a little more localized as the day goes on. And hopefully there will be further improvement into the day on Friday. But a lot of this is dependent on the winds. Looks like some of the smoke could drift back into southern Ontario for the weekend. But we might get a little bit of wet weather before that, which would help the situation. A reminder that these are some of the air quality concerns, the symptoms that you might be experiencing on a day like today. Coming up, we're going to take you through your weekend weather forecast. That's after the break here on CTV News.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400. from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Many of us make purchases every day, buying products and services, and before we do, some of us check online reviews.
But you should know many of the reviews you see could be fake, and some have even been purchased by companies to get an edge over their businesses. Here's Pat Foran with a consumer alert. Pat.
Thanks, Michelle and Nathan. Fake reviews can be made by anyone, but there are also fake review rings that operate in other countries. They sell reviews for a price, and businesses may purchase positive or negative reviews, depending if they want to help their business or hurt their competition.
The fake review problem in general is so much worse than most people are really aware of.
Kay Dean is a former U.S. federal investigator who founded Fake Review Watch. She contacted CTV News after she noticed fake reviews being posted for a Toronto window company. Whoever was posting them was using the names of famous actors who don't even live in Canada.
These scammers are using the names of celebrities, which is just absurd. Bruce Springsteen, Tom Hanks, Lauren Bacall.
It's an obvious red flag if you see that Jack Nicholson, Denzel Washington, Matt Damon, Julia Roberts, or Al Pacino all took the time to leave reviews about windows and doors. CTV News contacted the business, which claimed, "Our window company has never instructed, authorized, or knowingly engaged anyone to post fake reviews or create fake business listings on our behalf." Dean says fake reviews are rampant on the web.
This is just a snapshot of what's happening routinely on Google.
We also reached out to Google, which said our policies clearly state reviews must be based on real experiences and information and do not allow reviews or ratings that have been paid for.
But this has definitely impacted my business, and as well as other businesses in the area as well.
A man we'll call John asked us to shield his identity. He owns a computer business in the Toronto area and says his main competitor is using fake 5-star reviews. He says he's losing customers and that Google should crack down on fraud.
At the end of the day, when a business is buying reviews to outrank visibility against competitors in the area, that's just unfair.
Dean says Google is making money on fake reviews and needs to do more to stop them to create a level playing field.
My advice to consumers is go back to the old tried and true method of getting your information by word of mouth, not to rely on reviews.
And when checking reviews, be suspicious if every review has a 5-star rating and every customer is completely happy with the product or service. In most cases, there will be a mixture of reviews. If there isn't, they may not be legitimate. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
You know, I cannot remember a day like this, just looking outside and seeing this orange haze.
It's awful. Summer days are so precious, and, you know, tons of plans happening. So many sports for kids canceled, camps canceled today, and just anybody having to do anything outside. It wasn't pleasant.
We spend so much of winter, as was mentioned a little earlier in the newscast, waiting for summer to be outside. And you're right, it is very disrupting when we have a day like this. Yesterday it was the extreme heat, and today this widespread smoke. It was not even 24 hours ago that the first air quality warning was issued for Toronto. And now this is what it looks like outside, even still at this hour. This is a live look from the camera atop Hotel X. That, of course, is Toronto Stadium. Right down near the waterfront, RBC Amphitheatre, there is a concert that, as far as we know, it is still scheduled to go ahead. But yes, so many events and activities canceled for today. I think for so many of them, it was the right call. There's the camera taking a little spin. And there is that amphitheater. All right, let's take a look at the air quality warning that remains in place for the city of Toronto. It's worth pointing out again that this is an orange level alert. I say that not to mention because the sky looked orange today, but because of the severity level of this air pollution, this wildfire smoke that drifted from Northern Ontario to here in the lower Great Lakes. The smoke really did inhibit our warm up today. So we've been at 25 degrees. all afternoon. It feels like 29 out there, but gone is the heat warning criteria temperature. The only place it's really still quite hot is Windsor at this hour, 35 degrees, feeling like 44. And it's extreme southwestern Ontario that could see the worst of the wildfire smoke into tomorrow. Overnight tonight, it is smoky for us, 21 degrees, the forecast low. Again, that's not exactly cool. It might still be an uncomfortable night for you if you don't have AC, but it's better than what we experienced last night. That was brutal. Tomorrow, 29 degrees, could feel like 33. That's if we can get some of the heating with the sun shining through the smoke and the cloudiness. It's possible that we could see, once again, deteriorating skies like what we had today into tomorrow morning. And then we hope that the smoke will become a little more localized, a little less widespread as the day goes on. Temperatures in the mid to upper 20s, pretty well everywhere, but smoky skies expected. Should see some improvement first as far as the smoke in eastern sections of Ontario. We had some sprinkles of rain today that may have helped clear the sky where you are. Certainly an improvement this afternoon compared to early this morning. And we're hoping for a little bit more, a bit of active weather, not so much until we make our way Friday and overnight into Saturday. But at this point, any assist from Mother Nature would help clear the sky and perhaps help put out some of those fires in northern Ontario. Here's a look at what we're expecting. So again, it's late day Friday, overnight into Saturday. This is probably not great news when it comes to your Saturday plans because we are expecting that there will be a few showers. But again, less hot. Temperatures are seasonal through the weekend. And then how about early next week? At times, our daytime highs could be below seasonal, so a big cool down. I don't know if that's music to your ears. It has been very hot and humid as of late, but this smoke is going to be an ongoing story that we follow for a number of days at this point. That's the weather for now. Michelle, I'm going to send it over to you.
Definitely. And let's turn our attention now to the wildfires burning to the north, fueling these smoky conditions. The sky over Toronto looking apocalyptic today. Smoke from dozens of wildfires sitting over our city and drifting across the province.
The flames in the north, stoked by super hot and dry conditions, forced people to flee and made for a harrowing scene on a train. CTV's Adrian Gabriel has more.
This could potentially overtake us here. This is getting a little scary.
A wall of deadly flames surrounds a CN train in northwestern Ontario. A crew member calls out for help.
Holy shit. Okay, y'all need to hurry up here. Like, seriously, we're encased in flames now.
Everyone on board was safely evacuated. Emergency orders have been issued to vacate multiple northwestern Ontario communities, including First Nations. Satellite images show a blanket of smoke created by dozens of fires covering large swaths of the province. The Canadian Interagency Forest Fire Centre says that as of this week, there are roughly 838 active fires across Canada, with the largest concentration found in Quebec, where 190 are burning, followed by Ontario with 184. Canada's largest city now on the receiving end, the skyline suffocated by a smoky canvas.
I've never, ever seen anything like this.
As of 11 a.m. this morning, Toronto had the most polluted air quality in the world, worse than Delhi, Dubai, and Doha, just to name a few.
This is kind of like the earth smoking a cigarette, and we're getting the secondhand smoke from it.
At a popular Toronto park where hundreds flock to each day during the summer, only a handful of people brave the elements. Others put on a mask while traversing the city, protecting themselves from the particles in the air.
Those particles are going to contain a whole sort of soup of different chemicals and compounds that can impact people's health.
Compounding the air quality alert, the big smoke is also battling a heat warning. Though further north, the dangers remain even more present and pressing.
In the midst of these unhealthy conditions, public health officials are advising everyone in the affected areas, regardless of their age or medical history, to limit their outdoor exposure. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Toronto.
A giant planet has been discovered after being hidden for years behind debris in one of the most studied parts of our galaxy. This is an artist's conception of the exoplanet named Beta Pictoris D. NASA was not looking for a new planet, but it was detected by the unique chemical fingerprint of its atmosphere. Astronomers say the faint new world orbiting a young star adds another piece to an already fascinating planetary system that's about 23 million years old.
Also tonight, Line 2 getting an upgrade. The TTC sets in motion plans to modernize the signal system, what it will mean for your ride, and the timeline to get things moving better. The TTC has awarded a contract to begin upgrading the signal system on Line 2, the Bloor-Danforth line. Hitachi Rail Canada will be responsible for introducing the automated system. The TTC says will increase capacity on the line and reduce frustrating signal-related delays. The system automatically controls speed and separation between trains, allowing them to operate closer together and allowing for them to arrive at the stations more frequently.
Automatic train control is how modern subway system operates. It will allow us to run this line dynamically, keeping trains a safe distance apart while adding more trains per hour and adapting to real-time needs. From Scarborough to Etobicoke, faster commutes, less time waiting for the next train, and less time stuck because of signal problems.
Work on the project will begin this year, but the implementation will be done in phases and is not expected to be completed until 2037.
The first puck drop for the Maple Leafs 2026-27 season will be against a longtime Original Six rival. The Buds are hosting Montreal on Tuesday, September 29th. It'll be the first of 84 games for Toronto and the league after it expanded with the addition of 2 more divisional matchups per team. The complete NHL schedule will be released tomorrow.
Meanwhile, Blue Jays players made the most of their appearance at this year's MLB All-Star Game.
There you go. Finished him off. Back-to-back sliders to get Schwarber right there. Well done.
Jays ace Dylan Cease was dealing last night. The American League starter struck out the side in the first inning, combining with 10 relievers on a 3-hitter. Ernie Clement also distinguished himself. Check out a spectacular play by the fan favorite who flashed some leather and then made an unbelievable throw to get the out. The second baseman led all AL players in All-Star Game voting. Blue Jays closer Louis Varland also had a good night after being put in by manager John Schneider in the 8th. The first-time All-Star pitched a scoreless inning in a 4-0 American League win.
After the break, raising the issue of wages and unpaid work. WestJet flight attendants vote in favor of a strike mandate, potentially throwing travel plans up in the air for thousands.
In business, WestJet flight attendants could soon be walking off the job. They voted overwhelmingly today in favor of strike action. BNN Bloomberg's Morella Fernandez has more.
More than 99% voted in favor of a strike, which could happen as early as August 2nd. WestJet has 4,400 flight attendants. The union that represents them says flight attendants do about 35 hours of unpaid work a month, and that wages aren't keeping up with inflation. Both are issues on the table. WestJet CEO says the airline is determined to reach an agreement with workers. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is down to 71.22 U.S. West Texas Intermediate up to 79.60 U.S. a barrel. Western Canadian Select is up to 64.89. And the TSX gained 95 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Morella Fernandez.
More than 24 Meta employees are suing the company, claiming it used artificial intelligence to determine layoffs. The lawsuit claims Meta also used keystroke and activity monitoring data, as well as algorithmically assisted performance rankings to make the decision. It claims that resulted in people on medical, parental, or family leave being disproportionately targeted. Each of the 26 anonymous employees in the lawsuit were either on a protected leave or had requested or received an accommodation for a disability. In a statement, Meta says the allegations lack merit and are not based on facts, insisting all workforce decisions are made by people. Just ahead, lucky number 7. A UK zoo celebrates the birth of 7 endangered cheetah cubs, their first day venturing outside and the mission to restore wildlife worldwide. Finally tonight, the UK's largest zoo is celebrating the recent arrival of these little cuties.
Oh, but there are more than just 3 of them. Have a look at this. 7 endangered northern cheetah cubs, now call the Whipsnade Zoo home. 4 of them were born May 18th, and about a week later, a different cheetah gave birth to the other 3. All are healthy, but the cubs won't be making their public debut for a while. Zoo staff have been allowing them to settle in, to establish an all-important bond. Their birth is a huge boost to an international breeding program for this beautiful and adorable species.
They look so happy being outside enjoying themselves, unlike us.
I know. I feel like we needed those fuzzy little cheetahs in our lives because this is somewhat depressing, the smoke, and just kind of ruining the day.
Yeah, it's very ominous. It's spooky. It's a little terrifying in more than one way. Let's take one more look at the air quality warning that remains in place for the city of Toronto and really widespread across southwest Ontario, parts of eastern Ontario, sections of Cottage Country, and of course, northern Ontario. We anticipate that we will be at about a 9 on the air quality health index tomorrow. That's better than 10 plus, still not great. 29 degrees expected to feel like 33 tomorrow. And that is one more look at your 7-day forecast with some improvement hopefully coming in the coming days. Michelle and Nathan.
Bring on the fresh air. Thank you, Lindsay. That's it for us, but you can catch Omar Sachedina tonight at 11 with CTV National News, followed by Zarada Almond with our next local newscast at 11:30.
Meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and all of us here at CTV News, thanks for watching and have a great night.